So politicians from both the ruling and opposition parties, members of interest groups and of course ordinary South Africans lit up social media with their views on the State of the Nation address by President Cyril Ramaphosa last night. We'll continue to analyse it and kind of finalise our analysis with public policy analyst TK Pooe. So nice to have you. Thanks for staying on. We really appreciate it. Okay, so there we go. We got the EFF, as you saw, walking into... Oh, actually, this was when they were walking out. They, A, said they were going to disrupt. They didn't. And B, afterwards said, you know, he just stole our manifesto. Our manifesto is exactly the same as his State of the Nation address. Talk to me about those comments.
Well, then I think if we follow their logic and if we read the 2014 speech of Jacob Zuma, can we then say the EFF stole former President Jacob Zuma's ideas, or when it comes to the manifesto? So I don't think the EFF would want to be associated with President Jacob Zuma. So I think they should be, look, there's only a few issues really that concern South Africa. Key is the economy and it's about the future. So we really can't have stealing of a manifesto. It's not plagiarism, as we say in university.
Yeah. Was it that similar? I mean, like you say, it's the same country, same issues, but if we have to draw a parallel between what was said and having a look at what the EFF had mentioned in their manifesto, are there a lot of parallels?
There's bound to be lots of parallels because let's look on the issue of agriculture. The EFF is very strong on the issue of agriculture. So for me, it would be more problematic if these parties were not coalescing around key issues which all South Africans are feeling. So I think it's an issue of just, look, they just triangulated to the nearest spot. But in terms of delivery, it was very, very different. If you remember the Commander-in-Chief's speech on Saturday, it's very different to what we heard last night. So I think on common issues, we're bound to have similarities. So it's not really, I think it's more them. I think they've been quite cheeky, to be honest. There's nothing more to it.
The issue of land. Can we talk to the issue of land? Was enough said last night? Because again, some people talking, it almost looks like it's not the key focus of the agenda right now, land expropriation.
He has shifted, and I think one of the people I spoke to put it quite succinctly. They said it was almost as though it's a SONA addressed at the business community. And the business community is not so enamored by the issue of land because they just want a final decision. And I mean, there are rumblings within government and within the ANC itself that, listen, this is not a settled issue. We say land we haven't really defined, okay, how is this actually going to go into law? What's going to happen post, let's say, after the election? So it's an issue where it is important, but I think there's no finalization as to how it's going to work post this year.
Yeah, at the end, which was quite nice about singing Tumamina if the opposition comes into power. President Cyril Ramaphosa saying he would sing the song Tumamina if Julius Malema becomes president. What happens if Mr. Mamani becomes president? Will he sing it too?
It reminds me, I think, one of those Shakespeare stories which says, I've not come to praise Caesar, but to bury him. And the insinuation is it's a backhand. He's very smart at these backhanded compliments because he negates the DA. It's almost saying you're not that relevant that I need to speak to you. But he also almost mocks Julius Malema, saying, come on, let's be real. Me singing to you, not happening at all. Yeah. So it's that confidence. So I think he has built confidence to say, look, before the ANC was not very sure whether they could actually call in the general election. But I think it's the confidence to say, come on, we all know when we come back here, I'm going to be giving the same speech and you guys are going to be sitting in the same seats.
I mean, if we have to take out that crystal ball and look forward to what's going to happen come the 8th of May and thereafter when the results do come out, the DA, you know, where are they fitting into this? Are they... Do you see them losing substantial votes in these elections and the EFF going up by what they're thinking? I mean, they are convinced they are coming into government. He will be the next president.
I think there's conviction and then there's reality. For the EFF to replace the DA as a second party, they'll need to cover 2.2 million votes. In South Africa...
Is that difficult, though? Because in the first election, what did they get? 1.1 million?
I think it was around 1.1 somewhere, and the DA was above, I think it was 2 or 3, but I just know the difference is 2.2 million votes. And the thing with the DA is that they know in terms of their constituency, they're sound. It's already locked in, especially when it comes to minorities. It's quite a locked-in vote. So the EFF would have to basically take what from the ANC, which is what they did before. And I think the huge assumption is that, listen, the youth are going to come in to vote. But if you ask Hillary Clinton, she made the same mistake. She really did believe that, listen, young people are going to come out. And young people are a bit all over the show, I can promise you to come out, but they never will. So they will grow, but I don't really see them coming out as the number 2 party, because it's rare in South African politics that you cover that spectrum of 2.2 million.
Okay. I know he mentioned tourism. I won't get into that. I know he wanted to increase the numbers there. That's a promise that every president stands there and wants to increase, which is obvious. I mean, and talking to visa regulations and all of that stuff. The one thing I want to touch on, however, is the president speaking of the building the nation 25 years into democracy and race relations not looking good at all. Talk to us about this, and also speaking quite a bit in Afrikaans. What was that all about?
I think he's touching on an issue which we've seen just play itself out in South Africa, which is, and I always tell people this, that the African National Congress did not win a revolution in the apartheid. What they did is that they found a compromise, and part of the compromise was to say we're bringing minorities to the table, and South Africa is going to be built on this coalition, this social compact. And he's simply just saying, listen, let's try go back to it so that at least we're a bit civil to one another, and that's the only way we're going to get forward. Now, it's very interesting to see how do you as a president make people come together. It's something that it's a you and I type of situation. So maybe it's just creating the environment to say, listen, we've seen each other at our worst and none of us like it. Maybe we should actually start to come back to the table and say, we're not going to agree on everything, land being the key issue. But what we can agree on is that we want this country to move forward. And that's what it's going to be built upon. And on that basis, I think most South Africans, I don't think we want a civil war. We'd rather, listen, we don't like each other, we don't have to like each other, but what we do want, we want to see the economy grow, we want to see our kids get employment, and we want to see a better South Africa. So I think he's just basically trying to say that's what maybe the new compact is going to be built on, the economy. And this is what a lot of Asian countries have done. If you look at China, the Chinese are not homogeneous, contrary to belief. It's just built on the plain fact that, listen, you grow the economy, and all these other stuff we'll have to leave on the side.
Okay, we leave it there. TK, thank you. As usual, thanks for coming in and chatting to us this morning and giving some analysis of the State of the Nation address last night. We've seen a lot of tweets coming through. We'll read all of those to you and your reaction to SONA and your beliefs for the country going forward. Public policy analyst TK Pooe helping us unpack.